Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Done Radio Hour. This is another one of those Meet the Cast episodes. So this week I'll be interviewing Shane Stefanchik. Before we begin though, I would like to thank our sponsors. I'd like to thank Mad Lab Theater, where we perform live. Our next show coming up will be Saturday, September 3rd at 3:30 in the afternoon. You can get your tickets at madlab.net/tickets. And we also just arranged all of our dates for 2017 at Mad Lab. So we are guaranteed to keep going for at least another almost year and a half. So come out and see us at a live show. The podcast runs about 6 or 7 months behind, so that's the quickest way to get your stories if you're in the Central Ohio area. Otherwise, just wait for the podcast. It'll be on the internet eventually. We'd also like to thank Pack Rat Comics, where we used to perform, who are really great to us. We'd like to thank It's All Been Done Presents, the entertainment network based in Columbus, Ohio, that is where our podcast lives. It's pretty neat thing. It's got a whole bunch of different content. We've got podcasts, they've got written work, television reviews, movie reviews, some drama stories, lots of cool things, and a lot of other cool things coming up right now in the very near future. The part of that network I'd like to recommend this week is The Oscars Are My Super Bowl. It's cast member Amanda Iman's movie review show, which is, she's been reviewing movies for a long time. She has a lot of knowledge of movies, and so it's a pretty insightful podcast. If you want to support us, go to our website. There is a shop support link at the top of itsallbeendoneradiohour.com, and enjoy this week's episode. So welcome out to another Meet the Cast episode. Our guest this week is Mr. Shane Stefanchik.
That's right. You said it right.
Or as the cast calls him, Mr. Shane Stefanchik.
It's true.
Which do you prefer?
Legally I have to go by Stefanchik.
Will your wife be listening to this?
Maybe.
Okay, so Stefanchik.
I didn't coin that phrase for myself, so I think it's okay.
Okay. That's good. And Shane is one of the few actors that gets to play two main characters on our show. I held up 3 fingers, but I meant 2. You play Lieutenant Commander Meow Meow.
Yes, that's right.
And you play Rufus Reginald Rochester.
That is also true.
And you just effortlessly switch back and forth between the two.
One time I had to do a British character making fun of a Cajun character badly, so it was kind of a mind F, because it was...
Can you show us?
Let's see. So it was more of a, so it was a Cockney British, like, I'm White She Devil. That's really cool. It's terrible.
That is terrible, but in a good way. Before we get started about our show, let's talk a little bit about your background.
Yeah.
So, when did you start doing theater, acting, or anything like that?
Well, let's see. In 6th grade, I was in a play. It was sort of a take on the gifts of Christmas. So
the Magi?
No,
okay.
The Partridge in a Pear Tree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they turned it into a play, and so I was Rodney, the guy who kept giving the girl all the presents. And
His name was Rodney?
Yep. And then at the end, she dumped a bucket of water on my head, and...
Well, do you blame her?
No.
All that bird shit and stuff.
Yeah, I know. And then I was in crew, primarily, because I like behind the scenes. And, then I went into TV stuff, worked at a couple news stations, got into the private sector of, shooting commercials and movies and such. And then I actually taught broadcasting for a couple years. So teaching.
What was that like?
Ooh, it differed day to day. Let's just say not everyone wanted to be there. So it was hard to motivate students who were there because their parents just wanted them out of the house after high school. And
I didn't realize is broadcasting, in terms of some of those schools, like a fallback job they just shove kids into?
For some of them, yeah. Some of them it was a way to get more state money. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But no, the good ones were great because, honestly, it was one of the best jobs I ever had. I got to hang out with a bunch of like-minded instructors. One of the requirements was that you had to be in the industry to work there. So everyone, that's how I primarily got most of my contacts in the Columbus area, was just through the school. So,
did you work on a radio station in Columbus?
Not a radio station, just TV stations.
TV stations.
A lot of the staff there were at like either CD 1025 or the Blitz.
What TV stations did you work for?
I worked for ABC and Fox.
Okay, they get the building, that building together.
Double building, yeah.
What did you do for them?
Oh, I did the morning show. I was a production assistant on the morning show. So got in at 4 a.m. Yep. And 5 o'clock, we went on 2 hours on ABC. Then 7 o'clock, we did 2 hours on Fox. And then we had a little break, and then we went back on at noon.
Is that Good Day Columbus?
Yep.
Hey, we were on that.
Yeah.
Our radio show.
I recognize the set. Used to work that set.
That's awesome. So you don't still work for a television station, though, do you?
I do not. I do a lot of private stuff now. So I did work for a production company for a little while. Just a little tiny local shop. And then now my friend Cody and we do sketches under the YouTube name Static Copy Island. So currently, as of this moment, we have 2 sketches out there.
That was Static Copy Island?
Yes.
Want to make sure the listeners here.
Yes.
You should subscribe.
Yes, definitely subscribe. Apparently, you need 100 subscribers in order to change your URL.
Really?
So right now, it's like YouTube/XYZ12897381, something like that.
Is that the full correct name?
I memorized it. That is. No, but you need 100 subscribers before we can change it to YouTube/Static Copy Island. Or
we can get 100 subscribers for you by what, the end of the day, you think?
Everybody? I hope so.
Come on, let's go.
Static Copy Island. It's like a blue banner with like a tree and a wavy thing.
I've seen the videos. I thought they were very funny.
Oh, thank you. That's what we try to go for is humor.
And something that will have already been done by the time this airs, but your Static Copy Island is going to participate in the 48-Hour Film Festival here in Columbus?
That's right. We actually we competed once before under someone else's group, and so we didn't have the control or anything, and it was super fun. The story didn't turn out the best, but it was a learning experience. It was a lot of fun, exhausting, obviously. This year we started our own group now that we have access to such a wonderful cast of people and crew.
Who are those?
I don't know if you've ever met them. There's one's name is Steve.
Steve.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll meet him.
Okay.
No, but the whole IABD crew primarily is going to be on board. So I didn't even get the whole sentence out before everyone was like, "Yeah, I'm in." So that was awesome.
I know it'll be fun for me to not be in charge and to just like get you a sandwich or
right.
click the copy board.
One of the most important tips they gave at this panel we went to was just have someone around to keep you from doing stupid stuff and put a sandwich in your hand. I'm like, okay, good tip.
Absolutely.
Sleep deprivation and all that.
Well, yeah, you can't work hungry and sleepy, one or the other at a time.
Right.
No hangry. So how'd you and Cody start this thing up?
Well, we've known each other for a long time. We actually met on the set of a super low budget movie here in Columbus. I'm not going to name it because you can't find it anywhere, I don't think. And also it was really, really, really bad. But we worked on that and then we became friends. But yeah, we worked on that movie together, and then we just randomly, for no reason, didn't talk for 5 years. But then we rekindled our friendship, and now we're the best of friends, and we started our things. He's come to 10 out of the 12 shows. He's only missed 2. There were a couple of the early shows, so
Yeah. No, I've noticed he's come a lot and seems like a cool dude. Is he got any interest in getting involved in the radio show?
Yeah, he's been interested, but I told him, I'm like, well, I don't know, because then we'd lose some admission fees. So
that's true. Might have to watch out for that.
We'll just have to have him pay us the money to be in the show.
Gotcha.
And we won't tell him that nobody else does that. Don't listen to that part, Cody.
Yeah, now Cody, it's safe to come back now.
Right.
You skip that. So you've got that background of working behind the scenes, and you do a lot of behind the scenes stuff for us as well.
Yeah, that's right. When we first started, Nick, we were borrowing
Nick
majority. Yep, Captain Kake.
Yes, I think I know him.
Yeah, I've met him once or twice.
I remember him vaguely. I mean, he's really, really terrible, but
He may or may not be sitting to our left right now. So
I hope he doesn't hear this right now as we're recording it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Shh! I told you we're allowed to be in this podcast.
I know, but you keep you're mean.
I am going to leave that in. So
But yeah, he when we were first starting out, we were using a lot of his equipment, and
Thank you. I know this isn't about him, but thank you very much, Nick.
Yeah. So it's great, and I don't know, it just sort of. I worked in audiovisual for a little while too, so I just sort of naturally started, putting cables down and taping them and setting up the mics. It was just a natural thing for me to do. So then
mostly so that you didn't have to watch us screw them up and break things, right?
Even to this day, sometimes there'll be someone who'll be wrapping a cable. I'm like, why don't you just let me do that? Like, I appreciate it, but it's a little tight there. You're not wrapping it right. But it's fun. I really enjoy it. We had you order a bunch of computer parts to build the show computer so we could record on.
Which
that was fun.
Your nightmare.
I still don't have any idea what went wrong with that.
Shane spent weeks building and rebuilding that computer.
One day, I was actually almost late to rehearsal the day of the show because I was like up until the last minute just tinkering with it, getting it to work.
And we should state that he built it correctly the first time. I dropped the computer and then he couldn't fix it.
Yeah,
faulty table.
Yeah, it's all right. These things happen, but it's fun. I make sure that the recording is going and everything. So sometimes if you're at the live show and you don't see me, it's because I'm in the back with the computer, listening, making sure everything sounds good. Sometimes if I'm not in the sketch, I'll make sure that nobody's like blowing out the microphone because they're screaming.
Now we're starting to talk about the show. Let's talk about how you got involved with It's All Been Done Radio Hour.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it was either a Craigslist post or a Facebook post. I think it might have been a Facebook post
in like one of the everywhere. So
yeah, it might have been a Facebook post in one of the like film groups in Columbus. And it was really just a whim because at the time I didn't really do much. Just kind of went to work, came home, and watched television. I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Sure, why not? And I auditioned with the Meow Meow.
You did.
So it's like, okay, lizard. What does a lizard sound like? A lizard creature. And that's sort of... I actually had a couple different ones, and then the one I sent you was the one I just sort of picked. I can't remember what the other ones would have even sounded like.
Well, I think the one you sent me is pretty much exactly what you're doing now.
Hello, my name is Shane Stefanchik, and I will be reading for the role of Lieutenant Commander Meow Meow.
I am Lieutenant Commander Meow Meow, and I'm from the planet. A fun fact about me is that I'm not evil.
That was a great clip, wasn't it?
Thanks. Yeah, this for reference, this is generally what I sound like now.
Yes. I do remember you were the very first audition I got. And I remember seeing it on the computer, and Nick and I have been buddies for a long time. I'm like, hey, Nick, look, I got my first audition. And Nick's like, oh, okay, well, let's hear it. And so I played it for him, and I was like, I know the deadline's a while away, but I think I want to cast him as Meow Meow. But I'm not going to cast him because you got to wait and see. Everybody gets to the full minute. We're very adamant about that in this group, that we wait till the deadline so everybody gets a fair shot. But I remember saying to Nick, I think that this might be Meow Meow. And Nick's like, you should wait and see what else you get. I'm like, but this is a really good one. Set the bar high.
Yeah. I would be curious to hear some other Meow Meow auditions, see what other people, had in mind for that.
Well, let me put some in right here.
Sure.
This is Joe Morales, and this is my audition for Lieutenant Commander M. I am Lieutenant Commander M. I am from the planet... And a fun fact about me is that I'm not evil.
This is Chase McCants reading for the character of M. I am Lieutenant Commander M from the planet... And I am the science officer. And a fun fact about me is that I'm not evil.
My name is Keith Jackson, and I'll be reading the parts for the narrator, Admiral Jameson, Captain Richard Kakay, and Lieutenant Commander... I am Lieutenant Commander... I'm from the planet... And I'm the science officer.
Yeah, so you were one of the first auditions, and then you showed up, and you immediately regretted your decision, and then we begged you to come back.
I was surprised at how many people were there. Well, and just that, I figured, okay, everybody's got to, know each other or something. And there were only like maybe 3 of you who really, 4, I guess, technically, loosely, but... Yeah, it was exciting. I remember the first table read for Universe Journey was a little nerve-wracking because I think I didn't speak right away, and so I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be the only one doing a stupid voice. And no, I mean it was a lot of fun, and I love getting laughs. So
Sure.
So I mean I think everyone does.
Well, you do a lot of improv. I'd say more than most, and just finessing your lines and adding in little jokes.
Yeah, I tried. One of the first couple times that I tweaked a line, I was like, "Oh, I hope this is okay." Like,
and I did fire you, but then
that's
after
true.
you begged,
had a good scolding on that one.
No, just kidding. No, we absolutely most of the best lines in all the shows are improv. Well, and then you and Nick seem to hit it off, and you have good chemistry, and so you guys would come up with bits from Meow Meow and Kake.
Yeah, I would say Nick and I, the first really good chemistry happened between Kake and Meow Meow, because he would just sort of pick up on where I was going with something if it was slightly off script and just kind of roll with it, which is just an awesome feeling, being able to kind of go off script just a little bit and then have the other person react sort of exactly the way you were expecting, and then just slip right back into the script as if that's what was written. So what was your feeling, and how did you take it when you learned in this past episode that's was released on the podcast that Meow Meow was indeed evil and was arrested for treason? It was a very interesting take because he's always protesting that he's not evil, which is exactly what an evil person would say.
Oh, absolutely.
So there are some readings of lines that you probably didn't intend to sound so sinister, and it's like there was, I think one was like, oh no, I would never do that, and he really genuinely didn't mean to do that, but that's just how he sounds. So
yeah, I mean, it's speciest if you think he sounds evil.
Exactly, Kake.
Exactly. So, do you think? Do you hope we bring Meow Meow back, or are you ready to be done with him?
No, I hope even if he does turn out to be evil, I hope that he's a really good guesser. So hopefully they keep him around to just even in a prison cell somewhere where he can guess things accurately for.
I think I've seen that show. Yeah, absolutely. I would watch that show.
Yes.
Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see at this point, we've already done several more Universe Journey episodes.
You have?
So
you
might
didn't tell me that.
Yeah, you know that. Oh. You're at the shows. You have to sit back and watch the rest of them play without you.
I will say I am sometimes, especially if I'm not in Porn Star Detectives as Larry, I am a bit bummed that if I'm by the computer, I don't get to see some of the physical things that happen, because I think that's one of the more physical sketches where there's a lot more physical comedy. Sometimes I'll just hear the audience laugh. I'm like, oh. Well, I'll never get to see it either.
All the more reason, if you're hearing this podcast, you should try to make it out to some live shows. The podcast is a wonderful way to tell the story, but there's certainly an added benefit to seeing it performed live.
That's true, especially Keith, because he
costume master.
Generally, we don't dress up per se. Some people add a little flair. There's a character there's a character coming up that I may or may not have had a pink feather boa for. But that's not something that came across on the podcast because you can't see it.
Sure.
But
it certainly added to the enjoyment from the audience.
yes. But Keith goes all out. Without spoiling anything, in the most recent episode, he had a hat on, and then he also had a suit on, and I didn't see when he changed. And
nobody did.
I'm in
we
the
were all
back,
like, what
so,
the hell?
Yeah.
And then he had
surprise.
a full costume before the hat.
Yeah. I didn't see that one either. And I was in the back. I didn't even see him go.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for the anniversary show, man, he really brought it.
Just amazing. When it gets to that point for the anniversary show, I think that was. Look forward to that, everyone, because that was one of our
you won't get
best
to see it, but yeah, no
show. I mean, just recording wise, yeah, it was just. I think one of our extra funny.
Shows.
It was
a lot of fun. Those episodes will be in January and in March, so they've got a long wait for those. But
in between's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. It's kind of
if you liked it so far, I guess you should keep going.
You probably should, because I feel like where we are on the podcast right now, which is we've just finished up the 2016s and we're starting to the 2015s, we're starting to release the 2016s. I feel like that's where the group was hitting its stride.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone just started clicking. I think a lot what helps is, sometimes we'll have after parties. We started doing that
in March.
Yeah. I think that was our first
Mad Lab.
What was the first after party we did? It was like Christmas, wasn't it?
We didn't do an after party Christmas, but we did a Friday night party in Christmas.
Yeah. I think really that's when, honestly, it wasn't until Christmas that I really even started talking to Dallas.
Yeah.
Right. And now text and snap each other all the time. So I think that really helped.
Oh yeah, the after party's been great at bringing that cast together even more.
Well, and especially there, we just sort of get to riff on just different funny things, and I think that sort of helps. You get a sense of what the other person's humor is. So, people who I maybe haven't really interacted with the show at all, you get to sort of interact and see he's really funny. I'd like to work with him at some point.
Give me an example. Who have you not worked with much that you're looking forward to working with?
Yeah, there's a couple people I'd love to work with that I haven't really gotten to at all, like Chase.
Which is funny because Chase isn't like everything.
Right. Who and Meow Meow never really interact, so true. That'd be interesting. I would love to be in a Packer and Ratcliffe, commercial, or just to work with them would be awesome. So
get in line. I think everybody wants to work with them. But it's a shame. I mean, in the commercial format, they hardly ever have a guest spot, and if they do, it's very brief.
Yeah, right.
So only a couple of the cast have gotten to work with them.
Right. So that'd be really fun. Also, I don't know that he necessarily wants to work with me, because I think he's afraid that I'm just gonna really go off script and just make him break character, which that's always a secret motive behind anyone. Sure. I know Sam likes to try to make people break,
which is completely acceptable and encouraged by the creator.
Absolutely.
I will not. If you guys make somebody break on stage, I promise there will be no repercussions.
Thank you, Lauren. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So who are you wanting to work with to break?
Oh, well, Chase is not so far. I imagine Chase would be no offense, Chase, but sort of easy to break.
I think so.
I feel like Nathan would be tough to break, because surprisingly, because
he's easy to break in rehearsal, but then he gets on stage and he goes professional.
Yeah, when we do Daniel Kravitz, I will say that on that sketch in particular, I feel like that's a sketch where people make the most eye contact. Like, usually in other sketches, people are just sort of looking in their book or looking just sort of around. But in that one, we all sort of just really maintain and make eye contact, which adds, I think, a level of acting to the...
Sure.
So definitely come and see it, because it's very...
let's talk about Daniel Kravitz a bit, because that's the other sketch you're a main character in.
That's true.
Rufus Reginald Rochester, who showed up in episode 1, and despite Daniel's wishes, has not left.
Yes.
And then...
Well, he knows better. That's...
Well, he does. And
This is Shane Stefanchik, auditioning for the role of Rufus Reginald Rochester. Are you Daniel Crockett? I'm not here to buy anything. I'm looking for Daniel Crockett. I am so glad I found you. We don't have any time to lose.
And obviously, Rufus, Abby Reynolds liked Rufus, so they've become friends, I would say.
That's right.
Grezit the Green is even kind of softening to you a little bit these days. He said
little bit.
after Christmas, he said you weren't as feeble as he thought.
That's about as best as you're going to get from Grezit. Or Daniel, for that matter.
Well, yeah, you haven't got any compliments
No,
from Daniel, I don't
no.
think. And then recently we introduced the character of your niece, Regina, played by Amanda Imem.
That's right, which is... Man, getting through rehearsals with this cast is so difficult when we do that sketch, because the minute I say Regina, I have to wait because there's so much laughter.
That was her character name suggestion, by the way. We haven't delved into Rufus's backstory a lot. So bringing in his niece gives us some opportunity that we can find out a little bit more about him, even if it's indirectly or just little snippets at a time. What do you imagine Rufus's backstory to involve?
Well, that's tough because I know that. There's inspiration drawn from Buffy.
Sure.
I try to channel a bit of Giles into my Rufus. But I don't know. I kind of feel like as much as I would love it if he were to turn out to have been a badass in his youth, I think it's a little too close to the other thing. So probably just really, book smart, grew up learning all kinds of just interesting things. There's the one episode where he started rambling off about, Quetzalcoatl and all the, gods and this and that, and just sort of like, I think it's interesting. Other people are like, shut up already, get to the action. So
and how old? I'm picturing Rufus, honestly, in like his late 40s, maybe 50 at the oldest. I know we haven't really discussed his age, but I think you play him with a little bit of world weariness.
Yeah, that's a little gravitas, if you will. Just sort of he knows things, but there's stuff that he just flies right over his head.
Sure.
And you can kind of catch some of that where they'll make jokes and he's like, yes, oh, what? And just, just misses it completely.
Well, because we've had it mentioned in the show that he lost 3 chosen ones before Daniel. So I'm certain that brings a bit of weight to him whenever Daniel faces danger.
Yeah, definitely, there's sort of a reluctance there to get that close or start to rely on Daniel, especially because of who he is and the laziness of it of Daniel. So it's he knows that he's got to train this person, but again, he doesn't want to get too invested because of his history. So
sure, and now you've got a family member worming her way in, which will only complicate matters further.
Right, which he says right off the bat, you need to leave. You're not staying here. But she's her own person, and she's
a grown woman,
just about as stubborn as Daniel is. So.
And I'd say Rufus has a certain level of stubbornness to him as well.
Oh yeah, he didn't leave even when the chosen one was threatening him. So he knows. He knows.
You had mentioned porn stars earlier. Besides your 2 main characters, I'd say the biggest reoccurring character you play is probably Larry on Porn Star Detectives.
Larry's fun. Larry is I'm glad we generally do porn stars last because Larry is a bit rough because I try to get in real deep, what I'm saying?
Well, I feel like everybody, speaking for the cast anyway, they all seem to really love Larry. And every time we bring him back, we get to learn a little bit more about him too.
That's true.
And we just keep building upon that.
Yep. Well, I like to we don't necessarily talk about any sort of quirks or backstories. One of the things I think have been in, and you can cut this if it hasn't. But the first meeting, it was just pretty straightforward. But then the next meeting, he starts to kind of like, come on, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. That was a Shane invention.
Yes,
the rambling is
the words. He just can't, and that's I've met a few people that do that, and so just sort of like I think that's kind of a funny Quirk.
Oh, no.
He seems like the kind of person who would, like, he knows the word, he thinks you know the word, and then he says the word while he's trying to think of the word, and then he gets there.
I mean, obviously I agree, because now I'm trying to write that way for him.
That's right.
And then you still get to take that and run further
Exactly,
with it. But
yeah.
The more I give Shane, the more I know he's going to run further down the road with it. And that's in a good way.
Right.
And then in Top Notch Tangler, you played a villain we heard recently, the Dockside Dag Nabbit.
Yes, that was an interesting time coming up with that voice, because it's I wanted to do something sort of out there, and originally I was gonna go with sort of a pirate voice, because Dockside, okay,
Sure.
makes sense.
Please, mate. We've got to let the boys come in. They're going to die out there.
But then I asked you, I was like, what voice is Virgil doing for the Dockmaster? And he
Old
was
sea captain.
He was basically doing almost the exact voice that I was gonna do, just a little less piratey. So I was like, well, let me go just in a completely opposite direction. What's an opposite of a pirate? Valley Girl. so I just sort of went with a sort of a Valley Girl kind of sassy guy. So
What other types of roles have you not gotten to play yet that you would like to play?
well, let's see. I already have a British guy.
Sure.
But I do have other British accents that I can bust out. I've been working on an Irish accent. So that could be down the line for something. And then just other, the one that I've told you about, when this goes back to Daniel Kravitz, but it's a Rufus being possessed voice, which I'm very excited to do eventually someday.
Someday we will come up with the right story for that, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
If Rufus, doesn't get killed off first.
that's true.
That show can be a dangerous show.
Yep. And we all know, as with Joss, nobody's safe.
And I know you're not that familiar with my writing prior to the show, but I'm an asshole that likes to kill characters. Love to kill characters. And we've done a little bit of it on this show, but we haven't really got to it yet. It's hard, because at this point we've got a lot of fan favorites.
Yeah.
And eventually I'm going to have to kill off some fan favorites.
Sure. I think it's good too, because at least, if this were a TV show, that would suck for the actor, because that's it. For us, it's cool because that sort of frees us up to do, for instance, right now, I couldn't do any other weird alien voices on Universe Journey, because...
But now that Meow Meow's been arrested, if we decide in the story that he's not coming back,
that's
then
right,
you're
exactly.
wide open.
So that could be fun, because, alien voices are... It could literally be anything.
Well, I'd say the alien voices and the monster voices, Neil Kravitz.
That's true,
Are
yeah.
like two of the weirdest opportunities, and you have a wide repertoire of weird voices, and yet you're locked in as main characters in those two sketches.
Right. Well, that's okay, because I'm really curious to see what other people, some of the monsters that have come through. When I'll read this script beforehand, I'll have a certain sort of voice in mind, like, oh, this would be kind of neat, and then somebody will come in and be like, wow, I never even thought of doing it that way. That's awesome. So I really love Fizzy Bibbit.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes, it is.
The Grezit, that's just...
Grezit comes in as a one-off guest character and freaking works his way into the main cast.
I love it.
Could not bear it.
I hope he sticks around, because that is
Well, he is Daniel's prisoner.
That's true, but you never know.
As we start to wind down here, you have a question from the last cast member. As we do, we ripped off Paul F. Tompkins' podcast. God damn, I forgot the name. Spontanea Nation. That he every week, our podcast, lets a guest answer a question from the previous guest and then provides a question for the next guest. So Samantha Stark was the previous Meet the Cast, and she wants to know if you're a vampire because of your pointed teeth.
Funny enough,
You are.
thank you.
Well, there's a mirror behind your head and I don't see a reflection.
That's true. I'm gonna have to kill you after this, but
Nick, please make sure this podcast gets edited and posted.
But Cody and I actually just shot a sketch for our Static Copy Island on YouTube, where I may or may not be playing a vampire.
Ooh.
So
to me, that is a yes, you are playing vampire.
you'd have to catch the sketch out. It'll probably be called Red or something of the sort. We shot it with one of the. She guest starred in It's All Been Done. Casey.
She played that episode hasn't aired yet, but it was a top-notch Tangler villain.
Yeah. So she graciously accepted to come over to these strangers' apartment and shoot an unknown sketch. So
with
that
a
was
guy
really,
that may or may not have been a vampire.
Exactly. So that was really cool of her. And I think that turned out really good. So yes and yes.
Yes, you are a vampire. Okay, interesting. Yeah. I had no idea we had a vampire in the cast. That really increases our diversity factor, which is something that's important to me. Is we need to have a diverse cast.
Yeah. Well, I was a bit worried when the show moved to 3:30. Right in the afternoon.
But the theater's dark.
Yeah, the theater's dark. There's tarps I can get from the parking lot to the theater.
Yeah, once that door's closed, there's no exterior light coming in. Mm-hmm. Big black curtains. You probably feel right at home.
I do. It's just like my basement at home.
So the next up is Katie. What question would you like to ask Katie Boysenalt?
Ooh, okay. Okay. And this is a real thinker because there's an obvious answer, and then there's another answer that if you think a little deeper, we'll see. Would you rather have the ability to shoot lasers out of your eyes, or the ability to grow grass anywhere on command?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Now, yeah. So, think about that one because, obviously you think, laser eyes, that's cool.
Sure.
But you could do a lot with growing grass.
I mean, you could basically have like a turf business. You could charge people a lot of money.
So I'm saying, go to California, it should be like $50. I'll grow your lawn. See you next week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And are you referring to grasses in lawn or are you referring to grasses in marijuana? Because that definitely changes my answer.
I hadn't considered that.
How much marijuana did you smoke before you came up with this question?
I will say.
And do you have the power to grow grass?
I will say just the the lawn grass.
Is there anything I did not ask you that you wish you'd gotten to talk about?
I think that's pretty much it. If anyone has any direct questions for me or honestly anyone else, I think that'd be really cool to go in the future if we ever get back around, or we could have like an Instagram Q&A something or other.
Yeah, we'll absolutely take
one of those things has like a little video clip ability.
Absolutely.
So
email your questions at let's just say contact us at itsallbeendonradiohour.com.
Yeah, and the website coming out. Or will be out by the time this comes out. It's All Been Done Presents.
Which Shane did a bunch of graphic design and did logos and stuff for.
Woohoo!
Which is pretty sweet. So you'll have to go over to iabdpresents.com and check it out.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Shane. We will put this podcast up in sometime down the road. I don't remember the exact date.
Perfect.
And
I'll tell all my friends to listen out for some time.
Some date.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for being part of the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to another episode of It's All Been Done Radio Hour. Don't forget to check out our website at itsallbeendonradiohour.com and our parent site, iabdpresents.com, with lots of cool content. If you tweet or post about us on social media, please hashtag IABD Radio Hour. Our social media accounts are all under the IABD Presents banner, so that's what you'll want to search instead of our radio show. Thanks very much. Have a great week.
Shane Stefanchik for Philip.
Oh, now why would you go and say a thing like that, you dummy? Oh, well, it doesn't mean you should say it out loud. You're tempting fate to bring holy hell down upon us.
Shane Stefanchik for the Sinister Sexist. Ah, there we go. Look at that pretty sign. The bazoombas on that Sally. Shane Stefanchik here, auditioning for Granny Gonzo.
Hello, I'm Granny Gunzo, and I'm here to tell you about my homemade Twinks. They're long and yellow and full of delicious cream.